Caught my unfaithful wife off guard with divorce papers at her hidden hotel rendezvous. Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing good out there. This is quite the lengthy and chaotic tale. Apologies for any typos, I'm typing this on my phone. I'm feeling completely lost and overwhelmed, and I just don't know how to deal with this situation anymore. Just to give you some context, I'm 43 and my significant other is 40. We've been married for 16 years now. We've got a 14-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son. Our marriage started off pretty rough, but we pushed through those challenging times and emerged stronger on the other side. We tied the knot when we were pretty young, so we didn't have all the maturity figured out just yet. But we were sure about our love for each other and believed we could tackle any challenge that came our way in our marriage. I'm honestly not convinced if this was just me hoping for the best. So my wife has been managing a major advertising firm for 3 years now, while I've been in engineering for 7 years. Our jobs are solid and have provided our family with a decent lifestyle. We were super close as a family. As parents, we always strive to be present for our kids, ensuring we create amazing memories together. Regardless of how hectic things became, we consistently carved out moments for our children. Honestly, I think I'm doing pretty well as a dad and husband. I really messed up at times with my wife, but I would do anything for her. It honestly shook me to my core when I discovered she was in a long-term affair. This leads me to the realization that my wife has been acting distant. Honestly, the 2 years leading up to this one were the toughest. It felt like no matter what I did, she just wasn't into it. She was always bringing up her boss, constantly telling me how he would deal with things. And yeah, I get it now. I wish I could just know what she's thinking. Sure, her boss definitely can. Why not step up and plan some dates to make her feel special? So her boss pulls that kind of move for his wife. What was up with my immaturity? I'd totally ask her what she thinks we could do to add some excitement to our relationship. Her typical response is, "Don't ask. You should already be aware and just handle it." I did some digging and picked up a few books. Honestly, I had no idea, so I figured someone else must have it figured out. Every effort I made seemed to be greeted with lukewarm praise or outright disapproval. My wife has never acted this way in all the years I've known her, so I figured that my inability to make her happy was something I really needed to address. Turns out I wasn't the one doing all the fixing after all. We were super tight with her boss and his wife. They have kids too, and the little ones totally adored each other. We took them to our cookouts, family trips to the park, and game days at the arcade. They visited our place a bunch of times, and we've gone to Teresa's too. Honestly, it was bound to happen that we grew close. I think I might share our marital issues with her boss. He totally dropped some solid advice on me. I really thought he was a great dude. So, getting back to the discovery, I was just emotionally drained from my wife's constant push for self-improvement. And it felt like the marriage was over. I was honestly taken aback by her attitude because prior to all this, I really believed we had a solid marriage. One night, she was just there laughing and giggling while texting someone. I found myself lying next to her in bed, and my curiosity was piqued. The second I tilted my head to sneak a glance, she yanked away from me with a fierce intensity. She flipped out right away, demanding to know what I was up to. I asked her what the joke was, and she shot back that it was none of my business before heading off to the bathroom. I remember that day vividly. It was the moment I realized, without a doubt, that something was definitely off and an affair was happening. I didn't have any evidence, though. I totally messed up by asking her directly the very next day. She was absolutely livid and refused to acknowledge any fault. I couldn't get my hands on her phone, but I was desperate for the truth. I requested her phone, but she totally shot me down. It wasn't until later in the night that she finally handed over the phone, but not without some reluctance. It seems like nearly all the text messages she sent to certain individuals just vanished. It was obvious since some discussions felt totally off, while others were just plain absurd. I returned the phone to her, and we did not bring it up again until a month later when I managed to get a friend to help me check the phone and recover the deleted texts. My wife had picked up another phone before, and she barely touched the one she gave to me. I managed to piece together some texts, and it became clear that there was indeed an affair happening, and surprise, it was with her boss. I had a feeling that if I called her out right then, she'd just find a way to squirm out of it, so I decided to wait it out. I was a total mess, honestly. Honestly, my mind kept circling back to how this would impact the kids. The whole thing was a disaster, and I ended up tearing up in front of my friend. I wasn't ready to throw in the towel on my marriage, so just 3 days later, I picked up a book on how to help your spouse heal from an affair. Feel free to shake your head at that. I began reading, thinking that maybe if I handed it to my wife, she'd put an end to this ridiculousness. I really wanted to get my wife back and do whatever it takes to save our marriage. I was all set to chat with her that Saturday to sort things out, but she mentioned there was an emergency at work and advised me not to wait for her. Naturally, I reached out to the workplace that day to verify the story she told me, but I got no response. They didn't have Saturday hours. I gave her phone a shot, but no luck getting through. She rolled in at 2 a.m. on Sunday, hit the shower, and then crashed into bed. I asked her why she was late, and she totally sidestepped the question, saying she already told me not to wait for her. I was done with this. I didn't hand over the book I brought with me. I was going through a tough time, and she, totally indifferent. She noticed my struggle and just shrugged it off. I reached out to her boss's wife to see if she had any info on the situation. I was really craving some stability, and honestly, I don't regret that decision at all. She was just as blown away as I was when we discovered that. She was thinking about confronting her husband, but I warned her that he might just lie and cover it up even more, just like my wife did. We gathered at her place to talk about the situation, and I shared the small evidence we had. She was looking for additional proof. We both agreed to collect evidence from our perspectives and then compare what we found. I began digging into my wife's activities, and it turns out she was doing the same with her husband. She had no trouble at all digging up solid evidence. Her husband was so full of himself that he didn't even bother to delete the messages on his phone with my wife. The few texts I stumbled upon earlier finally clicked, and we pieced together the entire timeline of their affair, 2 years long. The boss's wife was absolutely furious, and honestly, I was feeling the same way. We both had a strong desire for payback against them. They totally crashed together in all sorts of places. Her place, my place. Pricey hotels, work trips, it was just gross to see all that. They share pictures with each other, but we chose to just overlook them because we didn't want to traumatize ourselves with what we might see. We crave payback, but we weren't looking to get involved in an affair ourselves. We both agreed that if they were into each other, then they could go for it. We both filed for divorce around the same time. We were totally committed to it. We played our roles perfectly, keeping it all under wraps from our spouses. Just when we thought we had everything sorted out, they were back at it. This time, by teaming up with the boss's wife, we had all the details on where and how they were going to be served. We totally figured out where they were staying for their weekend getaway. I actually went there with the sheriff. I hung out in the lobby while the sheriff sorted things out, and then my wife was summoned to come down from her room. She totally did, rocking a bathrobe. And honestly, I'm not worried about anything else. She's totally freaking out, asking me like a million times what I was doing there. It was a bit of a trek from our place, but totally manageable. The sheriff requested to verify her name and details. She answered with a bit of confusion and was served. Seeing the shocked look on her face was incredibly satisfying, but I didn't want to gloat, so I chose to walk away, content that I had accomplished what I set out to do. She was gripping my arm, pulling me back and insisting on knowing what was going on. I let her know about your affair and that I'm done with this relationship, plain and simple. She began yelling at me, and while yanking my arm with force, the sheriff had to intervene and order her to let me go immediately. She went ahead and started crying, saying she could explain that I had it all wrong and that it was my fault. I was getting really frustrated, so I bounced out of there to head home fast. So my wife mentioned something to her boss, and he totally freaked out. I heard he hurried back home, only to find himself served there. We didn't allow them the chance to sort things out. We totally caught them off guard, just like they did to us. My divorce is set to wrap up in a couple of months, but hers might drag on a bit longer. My wife and her boss are really pushing back against the divorces. Both are not looking to end their marriage. The reasons I come across are that they never planned on leaving their partners. It was just a casual hookup, nothing deeper than that. Some folks have had it way worse and still managed to end up with a solid marriage. They messed up and are hoping for a chance to make things right. I asked my wife what she thought the result of all this would be. She claimed she was just going with the flow, but honestly, it felt like she was totally out of character. She's changed. That's not who she is now. I straight up told her she's an idiot. Folks in my circle are labeling me as the bad guy for not giving my wife another shot. My kids are aware of this situation and they fully support me, but they really want us to stick together. I'm starting to lose my grip. Given that we're still under the same roof and my wife is attending therapy and engaging with the book I gave her, it's becoming increasingly challenging to hold my ground. She claims to feel regret and is willing to do anything necessary. All I say to her is that she's just sorry she got caught, and that's all I really need to understand. She labeled me as someone who's just bitter and stuck in negativity. She said sorry for it later, but I can tell that's really how she feels. My boss's wife and I keep in touch, and my wife is totally not on board with that. She believes I'm planning a revenge affair, or that her boss's wife is the reason I won't consider giving us another shot. She's been on my case about cutting off communication with her boss's wife, just like she did with her boss. I told her she's out of her mind. We didn't do anything wrong, so why should I care about her opinions now? Got it? I think I'm over it. I really don't have any respect for her. She's not backing down and is really making an effort to open up about her thoughts and the whole situation regarding her affair. I view those as justifications, so I don't engage with her. She's asking me to go to therapy together. I've seen so many instances where therapists put the blame on the victim, and I was just like, absolutely not. She's asking me to dive into some infidelity books together. What's the point if we're just going to end up splitting up anyway? She's looking for some closeness. I made it clear that she wouldn't be able to use sex to control me. She claims it's not manipulation and just wants to express her love for me. I fixed it and said, love me now. So it turns out that the folks in my life, including my mom, are feeling pretty frustrated with me. They keep saying that everyone makes mistakes, and my wife is coming to understand through her own missteps just how much she really loves me. I made it clear that I refuse to be anyone's second choice. I really regret how I've been treating her. I still have feelings for her, despite the negativity that exists between us. Am I being too harsh on her? She's putting in a lot of effort, but honestly, I'm just not interested. Is it time to rethink the divorce decision? Some folks are telling me I'm rushing things and that I'll end up regretting it. Wait, is that actually true? I'm seriously questioning what's genuine and what's just a facade. Thanks everyone for taking the time to weigh in on my situation. I've gone through all your comments and a few of you brought up some really important points. I'll be chatting with my wife about it shortly. I'll make sure to keep you in the loop. I honestly believe that going through with a divorce is the best option for both me and my kids. This place has been really helpful. Here's the latest on the situation. Right, I'm here once more. I'm giving it another shot since I've been bombarded with emails asking for an update. I appreciate your concern. Hey everyone, I totally get your curiosity and I want to clarify a few things. So my wife and I are doing pretty well at the moment. It's not like we're making amends or anything. Nope, I'm still going through with the divorce. The last update I shared, which got removed by the auto mod, went into detail about our situation. So here's the deal. My wife is really pushing for another shot and is going all out to make it happen. I'm not going to give it to her since her affair lasted way too long for me to move past it. If it were just a one-night thing, that would be one thing, but 2 years? That's just a total slap in the face. I've attended a couple of therapy sessions with her because I'm not a bad person and I still care about her. One session really opened my eyes and showed me that my wife genuinely feels remorseful. She hasn't nailed it with how she's dealt with the aftermath of her affair, but you can definitely see she's putting in the effort. The second session turned into a chaotic situation, with her expressing frustration over my ongoing communication with the boss's wife and her concerns about a potential revenge affair. I was so furious during this whole situation, and we ended up arguing a lot afterward because I wouldn't agree to her demand of cutting off contact with the boss's wife. I managed to clear things up by assuring her that there wouldn't be any revenge affair. I get that I'm not obligated to her anymore, but she's still my wife until the divorce is finalized, and I want to stick to my commitments. I've been attending a few more sessions with her to check out how she's doing. Absolutely, this therapist specializes in both individual and marriage counseling. No, I'm not attending these sessions because, honestly, I want to work on our marriage. I want to check out my wife's progress firsthand and get involved if needed. Once the divorce is finalized, I plan to exit with dignity. The boss's wife is still planning to leave her husband. Her husband is still putting up a fight against her. When it comes to the divorce, she's just as firm as I am. And I have to say, we do share our feelings on those tough days. I still don't see any affair going on. We're just keeping it casual and friendly between us. That's it. She's a fierce and self-reliant woman who doesn't tolerate any nonsense from anyone. My kids are doing great. They understand that even though we're going through a divorce, our love for them remains unchanged. They're not looking for a divorce, but they get why it's something we need to consider. And they're handling it in a way that makes sense for their age. My wife is no longer with the advertisement company. She's got a job at a different place. She quit not long after I handed her the papers. She's been totally ghosting her old boss. She mentioned that she sought advice on online communities to find ways to save her marriage and implemented the suggestions she received. I've been browsing a lot lately, and initially I couldn't wrap my head around why some folks choose to stick around with cheaters. After watching my wife put in so much effort to improve herself, I totally get the allure. She's not a bad person. She's just got her issues and has made some really bad decisions. But she's on a journey to improve herself. She's thrown out all the cards, trying to win me back with every possible offer. I'm really questioning if I've got what it takes. As the divorce approaches its final stages, I find myself feeling increasingly at peace. We just had this extensive chat about her wanting another shot after the divorce. She suggested a post-nup. I wasn't entirely against it, but honestly, it would be an incredibly long journey for her before I'd even think about it as a real option. She appears to be on board, but I can't figure out how that would help any of us. Honestly, a big part of me is craving this divorce just for the sake of feeling like justice is being served. It's the only way I can find some sense of justice without stooping to the level of an adulterer. After I opened up about my wife's affair, my mom and I were able to reconcile. Now she's totally livid with my wife after finding out the details. I'm not really sure how to figure that out. Vent. Payback fling. All right, I held off on posting until my divorce was wrapped up, but I'm just really frustrated today and need to let it out. So here's the deal. My wife is totally freaked out about this whole revenge affair thing. The straightforward reason is that I still keep in touch with and see the other woman she deceived. My wife feels really insecure compared to other betrayed partners. Is that how it's spelled? The other betrayed partner is younger, a model, incredibly attractive, and runs a thriving business. My wife gets really anxious about the idea that I might give in to temptation and cheat on her as some sort of payback. I can't wrap my head around how she had the audacity to hit me with that whole two wrongs don't make a right spiel. Sure, she has a point, and I have no plans to act on it, but her hypocrisy really gets under my skin. Whenever I plan to visit another betrayed spouse like I did yesterday, she becomes really sad or overly clingy. I'm not sure how many times she's put herself out there just to ensure I won't betray her trust. I turn down her efforts, and it just escalates the situation. It's honestly mind-blowing how selfish cheaters can be, only focused on their own feelings while those they've hurt are left to pick up the shattered pieces of their lives. On another note, our kids still hang out with their kids. I always make sure to bring my kids when I visit another betrayed spouse. But seriously, my wife still believes I could be as cold-hearted as she was and jump at any chance to hook up with that woman. Absolutely ridiculous. OM is still hanging out in their vacation spot, pleading with other wrong partners to give him another chance. Honestly, it feels pretty satisfying to watch him deal with the fallout. He hasn't attempted to intimidate me, considering the amount of leverage I hold over him. He's got to come to terms with the reality that I'm still in touch with his wife. He can see his kids whenever he likes, but he avoids me on purpose and makes sure I'm not there when he does. I really feel for the guy, honestly. Right now, my wife is really in the mood to say sorry. She's been pouring her affection on me, but I just brushed it off. I'm really struggling right now. Today is therapy day, and I'm ready to let it all out. The pain and hurt I've been carrying because of her. The frustration I'm experiencing is really starting to boil over. Just dropping by with an update, not much going on to share with you all. Some things have definitely come up though. Going through my posts and messages really opened my eyes to how awesome this community is for supporting folks like us. I've been diving into a ton of material about infidelity to really understand my situation better. So, in a recent therapy session with my wife, She asked for a bit more time to try and win me back. She laid out a bunch of reasons why it might be worth my time to at least give it a shot and see if I could get involved in working on our marriage, though reconciliation wasn't the immediate goal. I kept pointing out that her efforts were only happening now because of the consequences of her affair. If she were still with him, she definitely wouldn't be making any effort. She manipulated me for months, and I'm not someone who lets others take advantage of me, not even from the woman I cared about. She took full responsibility for her actions and offered another heartfelt apology. She keeps saying she'll make it up to me over and over again. She's all about making our marriage stronger than it's ever been and totally believes we can do it. I asked her if she was ready to handle my anger because I've got more than enough to go around. She was totally on board with it and said I could vent to her anytime I needed to help work through the pain. Every time I bring up her affair, it feels like I'm hit with a barrage of excuses. This time she was completely honest and admitted there was no justification for her actions. She promised to dedicate every day of her life to proving her genuine remorse through her actions, vowing she would never hurt me like that again. She really opened up to me, and it helped me see that she was dealing with a lot of insecurity and jealousy towards the other betrayed spouse. The whole situation totally boosted her ego, and she loved the feeling of being beautiful and wanted. She recognized that the affair was purely a fantasy and was doomed to fade away. She barely considered the consequences, though it crossed her mind occasionally. She totally regrets the affair and feels like she'll carry this guilt with her forever. She's likely going to be stuck in this guilt forever. She said she could never compare to the other betrayed spouse, and the reason she was convinced I would cheat back is that the other betrayed spouse is not only stunning, but also a woman of integrity. Never has the other betrayed spouse said anything hurtful or made any threats towards her. It was just my wife's insecurities coming through, and perhaps my own anger at her for the betrayal played a part too. Now this is where things start to get really intriguing. The therapist wanted to know what it would take for me to think about my wife's suggestion. I couldn't think of anything. I kept it real and said I wanted a time machine because what I'm stuck in now is a total joke of a marriage, and I never agreed to this. She mentioned that every marriage encounters issues from cheating to loss. The way those issues are handled really reveals the resilience of a marriage. I seriously couldn't wrap my head around where this discussion was going, so I told the therapist to concentrate on my wife instead of us. The therapist mentioned that my struggle to grasp logical reasoning could be an issue when it comes to communication. I didn't have a different opinion. So my wife and I had this deep conversation on the way back home. She asked me if I felt less of a man because of her affair. I was honestly taken aback by the question, since she had never brought it up before. I totally said yes. She totally caught me off guard when she asked if I'd feel better by hooking up with another woman. I once more made it clear that I'm not involved in, nor will I engage in, a revenge affair. She mentioned that she was referring to a trial separation, where I could go out and rediscover my mojo. She'll stick around and hold on until I'm fully prepared to return to the marriage. I used to think she was just really eager, but her proposal is off the charts insane. I asked her what the point was of both partners having affairs and how that could possibly help the marriage. She mentioned that it wouldn't be considered an affair since we would have an understanding that allowed me the freedom to explore other connections. I pointed out that it's a big gamble for her, and she shot back that we're already headed for divorce. So if this doesn't work out, at least she can explore what's out there. I totally shot down the idea since it felt completely out of character for her to suggest that. My wife has been unusually chill and understanding lately. She's totally transformed from that shallow, insecure version of herself. Yeah, I totally get that I shouldn't trust her for my own good. It's pretty tough, honestly. Despite her reluctance, she's been surprisingly generous throughout the divorce process. I've seen countless stories about how divorces can turn ugly, but mine was different. This situation feels totally surreal. Navigating this can be quite a challenge. Edit to clarify, I am definitely proceeding with the divorce. I'd love to see what everyone thinks about this. Hey everyone, I'm back with an update. Hey folks, here's another update on the unfortunate situation I'm dealing with. Before diving in, I just want to give a shout out to everyone who has been there for me and offered their support. So my wife and I have come to an agreement to keep things civil and spend the holidays together as a family. This is going to be the final holiday that ever takes place. Even though my wife is doing fine in other aspects, I was really hoping to make this happen for our child's benefit. My kids are the best. Just a heads up for anyone interested, our divorce will be finalized around mid-February. We've divided everything equally, but she's definitely been more generous with her share. I'm still unsure if this is just a strategy and she could become unpleasant down the line. Honestly, she's been really sweet about it and admits it's all because I've been a solid husband and dad. She thinks I deserve a pretty generous divorce given everything that's happened. It's not like she's going to lose a ton from the divorce, but I definitely end up with a bit more because of her. I've made the call to end my therapy sessions with her. It was totally misleading her and throwing her off with confusing vibes. She admitted that she really wants to get close to me. During my time away and her awareness of how her affair made me feel emasculated and undesirable, she's been constantly, and I mean constantly, trying to initiate sex with me. Honestly, it was kind of surprising that my wife started initiating sex now, considering she hardly ever did before all this. It's a bit upsetting to me. Eventually, I came to value that she recognized this as something I struggled with and wanted to tackle it head on. I've turned her down, but she keeps pushing, insisting that this isn't about getting back together and that she just wants me to feel appreciated and wanted. I've decided to take a step back from communicating with the other betrayed spouse for the time being, as things were starting to feel a bit too intimate for my comfort. To the individual who called me out on my revenge affair, I suppose you weren't entirely wrong. I honestly didn't see it coming until the other betrayed spouse opened up and admitted that she wants to explore what this relationship could become. She mentioned that she's willing to hold off until my divorce is officially wrapped up before we explore anything together. I was totally lost and had no clue what to say to her. We've decided to take some time apart until things are sorted out. I feel like I've been betrayed, and honestly, I'm not sure if I can still feel the same way about her. I'm totally lost on how to deal with that. Someone suggested that being around other betrayed spouses might be impacting her chances of reconciling with her husband. I can guarantee that I had no influence on her choice to depart from OM. She's over him, and that's all there is to it. We keep it respectful and don't badmouth our partners when we're hanging out. So OM finally decided to meet up and apologize for all the stuff that went down. He was such a cocky dude, but this experience totally knocked him down a peg. I chose not to accept his apology. Call me petty, but I really couldn't care less about what that jerk is dealing with. I've got a question for you all. Is it all right for me to be intimate with my wife, even though we're not working things out? I gotta say, I really miss getting it on. I really miss that sense of intimacy and connection we used to have. My wife is super enthusiastic and has been pulling out all the stops to get things going. New lingerie, sexting, playful touches, heartfelt letters, you name it. Honestly, there are times when I really struggle to say no. She went ahead and tossed, burned, and replaced anything related to OM in my house without me even asking her to. Honestly, I just didn't care to know the specifics of where they had sex. Turning off these feelings isn't exactly a walk in the park for me. Is this some kind of setup? Am I being manipulated here? Just to clarify before anyone suggests kicking her out, I've already attempted that. I actually prefer her here for now since it makes things easier until the divorce is finalized. I've had a realization, and I just need to vent about it. At this moment, I used to think I wasted all those years on someone who seemed completely worthless. But looking back, she gave me amazing kids and unforgettable memories. I'll always hold on to these moments and treasure them as a guy. However, I've come to realize that I can definitely find someone better than her. I'm definitely going to outdo her. I've been overwhelmed with a ton of advice from everyone on how to handle this situation. I've come to realize that I truly deserve better than her. She totally betrayed me, belittled me, and made me feel inferior when some other guy gave her attention. She totally put her energy into some other guy. I seriously can't believe it took me this long to realize I'm finally over her. Now she goes all out to make sure I'm around. Now she's putting her effort into us. Now she expects me to be happy when she clearly didn't care before. Now she's all about being this adventurous person and getting intimate with me. The intimacy we shared was never earth-shattering, but I enjoyed it. Now I realize how much I've been missing. From her messages with OM, I've only scratched the surface of how intense their threesomes were. Now she's trying to prove her love for me, even though she's been pretty lazy about it in the past. The lackluster intimacy really resonates with me. Now she gives me space and is happy and supportive of anything I do, whereas before it was all about giving her attention and providing for her at the same time. Now she respects my boundaries and really puts in the effort to enhance them. Now she finally views me as the king I always wanted her to see me as, but I had to knock her off her pedestal first. She's like the perfect woman, but honestly, it feels temporary. Now she's totally open with me about everything. She's super straightforward, even if it might hurt my feelings or make her look bad. I've never come across a woman who always seems to have that look of shame on her face. She regrets that this affair ever took place. It's clear she's really hard on herself daily. I can totally see the despair on her face when I'm not really open to anything she tries. She seems really down, especially when she puts in the effort to mask it. Sometimes it really gets to me, but I feel like it's something I have to do. What's stopping me from viewing this in a positive light? Why am I not allowed to critique her choices at this point? They definitely seem to feel bad about it, don't they? Isn't it true that a lot of folks go through LTAs and end up coming out even stronger than they were before? Why am I letting my feelings dictate my choices instead of approaching them with a level-headed perspective? It feels like someone else is going to snag the upgraded version of her while I dive into yet another unpredictable relationship. Why not go all in on this when everything looks like it's leading to something positive down the line? I've got the lines I've been handed, and I've come up with one answer. I won't tolerate any form of disrespect. I might have been open to it at first, but I snapped out of that pretty fast. This is for those who have reached out and consistently inquired about what's been going on with me. I'm looking forward to spending this Christmas with my whole family, and then I'll be moving on from my wife. I made the choice to stop entertaining the ridiculous thoughts I conjured up to justify my wife's hold on me and completely let go of the notion of her. I'm definitely not interested in dating her again or giving us another shot. It's really over this time. I like to think of my wife as not being a villain, and honestly, that's accurate. I genuinely want her to find happiness, but I know it won't be with me. She totally showed me that. I reached out to another betrayed spouse today and invited her to dinner after the holidays to show my appreciation for her support during my toughest moments. She mentioned that she would totally be down for it. It's not every day that you find someone who has your back like that. We really leaned on each other during this whole situation, and I definitely feel like I owe her big time. Appreciate it. Honestly, I didn't plan this out with OBS at all, so let's clear that up before anyone starts speculating. My feelings have been all over the place these past few years, to the point where I haven't even considered the idea of another woman. It's just dinner, nothing more unless we both decide otherwise. But as the divorce approaches, I'm starting to see that I have options, and one of those options has been right in front of me all along. What's the deal with OM? I really couldn't care less about that guy. I don't see myself getting married again, and I'm open about that with any woman I meet. Even though my divorce hasn't been too complicated, I'm still bleeding cash. Honestly, the concept of marriage feels like a total joke to me at this point. Apologies for my current cynicism. I hope this doesn't rub anyone the wrong way, but I can't help feeling a bit jaded. I invested so much of my time and energy into this relationship, and now I'm beginning to see just how little I received in return. Wishing you all the best this holiday season. Looks like I'm going to be MIA for a bit. Here's the latest. Just got my divorce finalized. Finally, the moment has arrived. I previously said I'd return to give one final update here. It's done. My ex and I are officially done for good. It went down nearly 3 weeks ago, and for a good few days afterward, it was all anyone could talk about. I felt a deep sense of loss, as if someone dear to me had passed away. It really struck me just how dramatically my marriage fell apart. I haven't cried that intensely since I first found out about the affair. I definitely felt that rage as well. This is surely one of my most challenging moments. I've set everything up for my ex, mostly for the sake of the kid. She left the house, and now I'm considering buying her share of it. She's currently residing in an apartment. That's a major setback for her, and it's really bringing her down. She's still seeing the therapist and remains focused on reading and studying infidelity, but I'm not quite sure why. We've had extensive discussions both before and after the divorce, with very little physical interaction. I get that I probably shouldn't be engaging with her right now, but she's the mother of my kids, and I really want us to have a solid co-parenting relationship. I pride myself on being logical about the situation, and I owe a lot of that to this community and others like it. Yeah, it's totally the same vibe. She's looking to make amends, but honestly, I feel like diving back into that is just asking for trouble. Honestly, I'm just not feeling it when it comes to giving her that gift. This past weekend, I went out to dinner with some fellow betrayed spouses, just looking to enjoy each other's company and have a good chat. We had a discussion about a variety of topics. Things took a flirty turn between us, and I have to say I was pretty hesitant to go along with the sudden shift in vibe. So I guess you could say the night wrapped up with some serious intensity. Apologies for oversharing, but that was honestly the most incredible experience I've ever had. OBS really knows how to please and is leagues ahead of my ex. I didn't mean for things to escalate like that, but I felt let down by the other spouse who I was open to, and I was too. Picked up some new moves in the bedroom, haha. It was the first time I encountered someone so eager to make me happy, flipping the usual script. I suppose I can stop referring to her as the other betrayed spouse since she's divorced her ex, but for the sake of privacy, I'll stick with that term for now. I don't see us moving forward in our relationship. Honestly, I feel like the hormones and wine really took over for us that night. She's totally down for it, but I'm still on the fence. I've got to get my emotions in check, and I have a feeling she might need to do the same. I'm actually feeling pretty great. Some may not want to hear it, but the intimacy I experienced with another betrayed partner significantly boosted my lingering self-esteem concerns. I felt wanted, vibrant, and at last grasped what I had been lacking. I refused to go back to that lifeless experience ever again. What felt even better was the realization that I stayed true to myself and upheld my values. Honestly, looking back, I feel pretty good about how I dealt with all this nonsense. I may not have been flawless, but I really gave it my all. I guess I'm fortunate compared to a lot of others, even though I did take a hit financially. It's all about being open to advice and learning from those who know what they're talking about, rather than just diving in without a clue and crossing my fingers. I can't thank you all enough for that. You and everyone who welcomed me here helped me avoid sinking my self-worth even lower. Key points. Have some self-respect. Don't ever let anyone, not even those you're closest to, treat you with disrespect. Seriously, everyone deserves a healthy and fulfilling relationship. Don't ever settle for the bare minimum from your partner. Every serious relationship ought to have a satisfying and vibrant sex life. If your partner isn't fully committed to you but has shown that level of dedication to someone else or during an affair, don't put up with it. I want to be clear that I do not support any form of sexual abuse or rape. Just express what you're not happy about. If your partner isn't down to meet them, don't just accept dull sex unless you both are on the same page about it. It's totally fine to just step away from that. Talk. I can't emphasize enough how incredibly crucial that is. When betrayal hits, remember that the power to heal lies within you. It seriously took me ages to wrap my head around this. There are definitely more, but that's all that's coming to mind at the moment. I'm here to respond to any comments you might have. In just a few hours, I'm wrapping things up here for good and moving on with my life. Take care, folks. Update. Things are a bit chaotic right now. Hey, everyone. I've been flooded with emails from folks curious about how things are progressing for me. I've been intentionally avoiding anything related to cheating because I still get triggered from time to time. Considering that I'm still working through some trauma, I prefer not to linger on things for too long. I've taken a break from this place and others to focus on moving forward. Hey everyone, I know a lot of you are worried about me, so I just wanted to drop in and give you all an update to put your minds at ease. I'm doing fine. No mishaps, just a quiet disappearance from the scene. I'm still an individual contributor. Another betrayed partner, I'm still with my girlfriend. She successfully reached an agreement with OM regarding child custody and financial matters. She had every right to be vengeful and could have really gone after him, but instead she dealt with the situation like a grown-up. There's definitely some tension among the kids regarding all this. We're doing our best to handle the situation. We've begun their therapy to ensure they adjust well and recognize that the relationship between the other betrayed spouse and me doesn't really affect them. However, we definitely see them as significant in terms of how this situation gets managed. This is really tough, since not everyone is on the same page, my daughter. My ex and the other person really can't stand being in the same space together. Honestly, it seems like they both point fingers at each other for the way things ended up. Seriously, I'm not joking about this. Whenever those two are near each other, you can definitely feel the tension in the air. My ex-STL is looking for another shot and might be upset that other betrayed spouse I see is helping me see things more clearly, preventing me from just tossing everything we have away for good. This woman is seriously out of touch, and I can't help but feel concerned about her behavior. She gave something a shot at a friend's 4th of July bash. I turned it off, but apparently I didn't do it quite right. I was skeptical when people said she would be pinning for me, but you all were spot on. She's really trying to come back, and it's pretty intense. The other betrayed spouse is letting me take the lead on this one, but she's also starting to get fed up with my ex. So my ex seriously can't stand other betrayed spouses. It's wild. I honestly believed my ex was making some positive changes for herself, but ever since I moved on to someone new, she's been a total disaster. I still can't wrap my head around that. I gave her more than I ever gave anyone, and she just treated me poorly. But as soon as I basically say, forget you, she's flipping out trying to grab my attention. I'm not sure if I should be upset about this. So that's that. Everyone can chill now. I'm really concerned about my daughter. Hey everyone. I'm familiar with the platform, but this is my first time in this community. I've been searching for some solid resources to help me navigate my current situation. You're welcome to look through my past posts for more context, but I'll give you a quick rundown. My ex-wife cheated on me. It went on for about 2 years. During this period, my ex-wife was somewhat abusive and frequently compared me to her other man. Our intimate life took a turn for the worse compared to how it used to be, and at first, I shouldered all the blame for my failures. After I found out about the affair, I didn't have a clear plan to walk away from her right away. But over time, it all unfolded one weekend when she went out to have a good time with the other guy and lied to me about it. I connected with another spouse who felt betrayed, and we teamed up to navigate the process of divorcing our partners. Throughout this situation, we shared the news with our kids in a way they could understand, explaining that mommy had broken a promise to daddy without going into specifics. We emphasized that although we were parting ways, our love for them remained strong. They handled it about as well as anyone could expect in this kind of situation. But naturally, they didn't want the divorce to happen, which is totally reasonable. My ex-wife kept trying to get back together, but I just couldn't bring myself to give her another shot. I let it go, realized it wasn't personal, and felt ready to move on as the divorce was nearing its end. It ended up being pretty expensive, but thankfully, the financial hit wasn't too severe. Just a heads up, right after the divorce, the other betrayed spouse and I gradually began to develop a relationship. Initially, it felt like a casual arrangement, but now it's definitely evolved into something much more significant. If it hadn't been for the support we gave each other during the aftermath of the affair, I honestly believe I could still be with my unfaithful ex. That, or ended it all, half joking. So I'm always chatting with my kids to get a sense of how they're handling everything. I always aim for our chats to be honest and straightforward. If they have any issues with my relationship with OBS, I want them to feel comfortable sharing that with me. I wouldn't take offense because my priority is to avoid putting them in a tough spot down the line. My 10-year-old son is all about OBS, while my 15-year-old daughter is taking her time to get used to the new setup. She claims she wants me to be happy and insists on not stepping into my relationship with OBS since she feels it's not her role. I let her know that her happiness matters to me as well. If she's not a fan of OBS, she can just let me know, and it won't bother me at all. She mentioned she's cool with OBS and just needs a little time to sort things out. We've had a ton of conversations with them about what makes a healthy relationship. I've had a ton of conversations with my daughter about her fears and worries. So far, she seems really supportive of me. Others and I are keeping our relationship under wraps to avoid overwhelming all the kids involved, my son, daughter, and her 2 daughters. Seriously, everyone is in therapy, even the other man, but that's a separate issue altogether. Clearly, this is a pretty strange scenario. This brings me back to my daughter. The aftermath of the affair and the choices that followed have really put a strain on her relationship with her mom. She straight up says she can't stand her because if it weren't for her actions, none of this would have gone down. She totally pushes back against her mom all the time. She totally pouts when it's her mom's turn to pick her up. She totally ignores her mom's attempts to show some love. She even let out some harsh words at her once, which led me to intervene and remind her to show some respect. And she actually complied in that moment. It's really concerning to see the arguments between them, especially knowing how deeply it's impacting my daughter. The ex-wife is handling things as best as she can, but there's only so much she can manage by herself. She's looking for my help to mend things with her daughter, since my choice to end the marriage played a role in their disconnect. I could totally bring up her cheating whenever I want. She totally messed it up. I'm beyond that, but it really makes me question how I dealt with this situation. Stuff that's been on my mind lately. Dash's daughter totally disrespects her mom. Dash's daughter longs for the days of the past. She has no idea that her mother mistreated me. My daughter is in therapy, but I'm not sure how effective it is for her. I'm really concerned that she might feel like she has no say in what's happening and that it's all too much for her to handle. Dash, she's been managing my relationship with the other betrayed spouse pretty well, but I can't shake the feeling that she's keeping her emotions under wraps. Man, I can't shake the feeling that I really messed up my kids' lives by going through with the divorce from their mom. Definitely not returning to that toxic individual, but I'd love to hear any advice you all might have. Here's an update. I appreciate that you all were concerned about me. What's up, everyone? Totally noticed your messages and chat invites. Apologies for the late reply. I'm not really around much these days, but I know there are folks who have been reaching out to see how I'm doing and what's going on with me. Here's an update to put your mind at ease. Just a heads up, this isn't going to end with a fairy tale finish. Let's address the major issue at hand. How are the other betrayed spouse and I holding up? Honestly, that's amazing. If I had known a woman like her existed sooner, I would have been on a mission to find her ages ago. Haha, that's hilarious. Honestly, I've never connected with any woman like I do with her. My ex-wife really put me through it, leaving me with no idea of what a healthy relationship even looked like. I still had my doubts, but other betrayed partners really had my back through this and are just amazing to have by my side. I'm totally head over heels for this amazing woman. She has consistently demonstrated how much I matter to her, and I genuinely feel the same about her. Just a girlfriend, nothing else. Honestly, I'm still not completely sold on the whole marriage concept. We're keeping things on the down low and trying to involve the kids as little as we can in this whole relationship situation. Yeah, the kids are aware that we're seeing each other. What about the kids? Honestly, it was a pretty shaky beginning, let's be real. But they're totally vibing now. I believe it really comes down to our deep involvement in their lives and ensuring they always had someone to listen to when they face challenges. And of course, a ton of therapy. My daughter and son absolutely adore the other betrayed spouse. She really knows how to connect with kids. Her kids definitely vibe with me way more than they did nearly 2 years back. Her youngest has been going around telling people that I'm her stepdad at events and outings we've attended together, which really caught me off guard. I was a bit anxious that she might feel pressured to see me in that light, but she reassured me that she really likes me and appreciates that I make her mom happy, which in turn makes her happy about having me as her stepdad. I can't even describe the wave of emotions that hit me after I heard that. It hit me hard and unexpectedly, but I managed to keep my composure. I enjoy watching my kids have a blast with their OBSs. It's wild how they've all come together to mercilessly tease my son, the only boy and the youngest in the group. Honestly, I'm torn between laughing and cringing at that. So what's the deal with my unfaithful ex-wife? We're chill with each other. She's been putting in a ton of effort, all by herself, to mend things with her daughter. I felt a sense of joy when my daughter shared that she was able to forgive her mother for her actions. They've faced a ton of challenges over the years and have really come a long way together. Honestly, I still feel like my ex-wife hasn't really come to terms with the fact that we're no longer together. It looks like she's still on the lookout for a chance at a do-over or dropping some hints about it. She's hitting the gym and still going to her therapy sessions. Honestly, she looks a lot better now, but I'm not really bothered by it. I've come to terms with what's happened before. That's on her for not keeping up. She engages more with the other betrayed spouse now, and that connection is mutual. However, the other betrayed spouse often views her with a sense of skepticism, which is understandable considering everything that has transpired. OM is totally hopeless. I had no idea how chaotic this dude would turn out to be. All that cash and zero smarts. He's got a girlfriend now, but his kids totally can't stand her, and they're not shy about it at all. It took me a while to realize just how self-absorbed the guy really is. Honestly, I'm not a fan of his girlfriend either. She really gives off a vibe of being super materialistic, totally selfish, and pretty cold towards the girls. So, to wrap it up, we're definitely doing better than just okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. I was really unsure if this was the way to go. With a ton of hard work from everyone involved, it's shaping up to be pretty awesome. No fairy tale ending, just a lot of joy in the present. So that's that. Everyone can chill out now.